だから、それを使うことにしました。そして、七時人を忘れました。I can't keep doing this. This little guy is so freaked out by the light. So there's this list of languages ranking the most difficult to learn as an English speaker. The easiest languages on the list take about 600 hours to learn, and the most difficult languages, there are 5 of them by the way, take 8,800 hours. In this group of 5, there is Japanese, but there's an asterisk next to it, which underneath it explains it's more difficult for English speakers to learn than any other languages in the category. So if you're trying to learn Japanese like I am and you're like, why can't I watch anime without subtitles yet? Don't feel too bad. I've been taking private Japanese lessons for about 2.5 years now, once a week, and my progress has pretty much hit a wall. But my teacher Lily, who is a Japanese professor at Boston University, mentioned that her students. Oh man. Well, we got it on camera. But my teacher Lily mentioned to me that her students who have class 6 days a week progress measurably faster than her students who meet 4 times a week. And then you have this schmuck doing 1 time a week. So I decided to sign up for a Japanese lesson every single day for an entire month. And it would be kind of a refiner's fire for me. Either I would finally break through this wall I was hitting and make significant progress, or I wouldn't, which would just mean I'm not smart enough, and these last 2.5 years have been an entire waste of time. It's a scary thought, but you know, it'd be nice to know. Spoiler, some lessons were more difficult than others.
It was never my intention to have a 7 a.m. lesson, but here we are.
The very first week was a bit of a trip. I didn't see like a massive improvement in my Japanese, but by the end, I started to notice something. My brain was shifting. I found myself constantly translating everything I was doing in my head. Like every sentence I spoke, I then translated into Japanese. It caused new words that I learned to stick a little bit easier. My only real concern was that it was just this constant brain workout that I wouldn't be able to keep up for the entire month. The lessons that I learned from week 1, be sure not to double book lessons. Machigaemashita. I accidentally booked 2 lessons tonight. I have no idea how that happened. That was pretty rough. And then also no more 7 a.m. lessons. Like that was just a bad call all around. Week 2 started off pretty rough. By the way, welcome to our storage room where we're keeping all of our furniture until the puppy is like fully potty trained, as you guys saw that he wasn't. Mentioned that our students. I had a couple lessons in a row where my brain was just kind of fuzzy the whole time, and it brought back those fears of like, I'm at my limits. I can't learn any more than this. I will not get better than this. But halfway through the week, things started to pick up. I felt that runner's high coming in, and for the first time, I felt like I was actually getting some momentum in learning. And at the end of the week, I had my lesson with Lily, and she shared with me that she felt like my conversational skills were getting a lot smoother.
After you haven't used Japanese for 5 or 6 days, your Japanese brain is kind of like sleeping ですね. So 5 to 10 minutes は you are still waking up, warm up ですね. So you said more things in English than Japanese. でも今はもっとこうスムーズに日本語が出ますね. More like because you are speaking Japanese like every day, you have more あれですよね, exposure to Japanese every day.
This unfortunately was also around the same time that Elgato had their massive release, and we had to make like 3 videos on it the same day that we released our Stream Beats collaboration with 100 Thieves, and we had to make videos on that. I've got like 5 videos to shoot in the next 2 days. I did not expect this to be so stressful. It's just an hour a day. Why is it so hard? Lessons learned this week: push through the rough patches a little bit, and also be a little more careful with my lights. Nice. The last half of the month ended up being pretty incredible. Conversation just started flowing very naturally,
もしもし、トシ先生、遅くなってすみませんでした。
at least within the limitations of the vocab that I had learned. And at this point, vocab was actually my biggest hurdle. I was getting so much conversational practice, but studying vocab, drilling vocab is something you kind of have to do in your own time. And after the daily lessons, I was just a little bit maxed out for that.
I think I'm gonna do like real soft, chill review every day. I think that'll help a lot, and I think that'll kind of like mitigate and make it a little bit more manageable for my brain to like absorb.
That never happened. I also came down with a pretty nasty fever during week 3, so I ended up quarantining on an air mattress in our guest bedroom for like 3 days until we could find out whether or not it was COVID. It wasn't COVID, but the lessons during those 3 days were pretty uncomfortable. The rest of the lessons throughout the month were very challenging, but at the same time, also much easier. My brain had just finished shifting, and now it was just like absorbing everything it possibly could. I scheduled my last lesson of the month to be with Lily so we could have a conversation and she could assess my improvement and just see how far I'd come.
もしもし、
すいません。
大丈夫、大丈夫。
今週はどうでしたか？
今週は忙しかったです。
忙しかった。いつも忙しいですよね。
はい、いつも忙しいですけど、今週は本当忙しかったです。メガネいりません。
レーシック。
はい、しました。
あれ何曜日にしましたか？レーシックは。
水曜日しました。
水曜日。そうですか。どうでした？レーシック。
すごい。変な感じです。
そうですか。
全部見えます。いつも全部見えます。変です。This is important. You have to make me look like I've improved. You can't say hard words.
My final assessment of the entire month, I loved it. If I wasn't like constantly behind on work, I'd just do this forever. Like just retire. I should just retire, stop making videos, live off of Stream Beats and merch money, and just take Japanese lessons every day for the rest of my life. By the way, speaking of merch money, Senpai Series 0 merch available through the end of September. Make sure you go grab some before they're gone. Or I could just move to Japan. You know, Kenzie and I actually talked about this for a while. It was a legit possibility, like moving short term to Japan, and then, you know, COVID, and then she got pregnant, and then, you know, we bought a puppy. Really, I did this to myself. Mata ne.